If that doesn't get you going, nothing will. Good morning. It's Friday morning. LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, all the platforms live. I'm Bill Caskey. My voice is a little hoarse today because I was celebrating the Indiana Pacer Game 6 win last night. This is not a sports show, but I have been following the Indiana Pacers for really from the time I was probably 9 years old. I moved here in 64. Yeah, I mean, I was following them from the time I was 9 years old. I mean, we used to be big Pacer fans. We used to go to the Fairgrounds Coliseum, which was an old place. Actually, it's still in use, but that's where the Pacers played. And I actually, this is a big trivia question your family will love to hear about. I won the first Pacer scholarship, and I was friends with the Leonard family, who were the coach, and Bobby Leonard was the coach, and his family lived in the suburb that I did, and was good friends with his daughter. And I think I had some pull there, but I won the first $1,000 scholarship, Pacer scholarship. I don't think they still do it anymore. I was probably the one and only one that they did. So anyway, but we're on cloud nine today here in Indy, and whether they, make it all the way to the championship, which they're already there, that's cool. If they do, great. If they don't, great. But we're just proud of them. So anyway, we're a little ecstatic today. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I've got something that I want to share with you, which is what I call 5 unpopular takes that I think if you listen to these, and if they don't offend you quickly right out of the box, which they might, a couple of these might, because they're counterintuitive. Again, I say they're unpopular because I've been to events where people have asked me to speak, and even the speakers after me have blown me up, have crashed me out and said, I don't know what that guy was talking about, but that's just not true. And it's fascinating because as I've watched those people who shoved me aside, they've come around. And I'm not saying I was on the cutting edge of this. It was a lot of shoulders I stood on because I looked and saw what was happening, and I learned about marketing and internet marketing and online products and personal branding and things like that. And it didn't take. I'm a C student, man. I'm not the smartest bulb in the drawer or knife in the drawer. See, I can't even do that. Bulb in the not the smartest bulb in the socket. But anyway, but I do see these things, and I see a little bit further ahead. And so these five unpopular takes are that, but my clients love them. So if you want more of what you hear today, we're actually doing a workshop called the 2X workshop. You can go to, I'll put it in the show notes here after this, but it's coming up here in about 2 weeks, and we're doing a complimentary version of it. It's, I think, an hour, and take you through the 9 steps that I think will almost guarantee you to 2X your business. It is not hard. This notion that, well, if I'm in hovering about 10% improvement every year, you're coming along and telling me I can 2X. Are you on drugs? What are you smoking? I've seen it happen. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard, because you're right now probably closing 20% of the deals you propose. So if you could just get that to 40, boom, you're there. Now, there's some work to get there to 40, and there's some work to doubling your business. But this notion that it's hard is not true. These 5 unpopular takes, though, are part of this. So number 1, I believe my take is that sales success has very little to do with persuasion. Very little to do with persuasion. I think we've relied on persuasion. And when I say persuasion, I mean belly button to belly button, face-to-face contact, where you're talking to a prospect and you're trying to persuade them to take action or buy or whatever the thing is. I think it has very little to do with persuasion. I think it has more to do with positioning. Are you positioning your product in a manner consistent with them wanting the product more than they want their money? Are you positioning your product in a fashion that allows them to conclude that having your product is more important to them than having their money? because at some point they will let go of the money to get the product. If they don't, then you can answer that question pretty easily. No, their money is more important to them than your solution is. So the idea here is to position your product consistent with that approach, with that philosophy. And if you can do that, you don't have to persuade. Now, does that mean you don't have to explain? Of course, you need to explain. You need to have a conversation. But persuasion and convincing and it's just, I want them to do what they want to do. Am I putting them in a position where they can do that, buy from me, have me solve their problem, be ecstatic about it, and start that from the beginning so I don't have to resort to all these weird tactics and strategies and how to handle objections and all that garbage. Take number 2, working harder and longer never fixes ineffectiveness. Working harder and longer never fixes ineffectiveness. Hey, Jamie, good to see you. Brightest bulb in the pack. Is that what it is? Okay, brother. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Brightest bulb in the pack. Okay. I think I'll stick with knife in the drawer since but bulb in the drawer. I got bulbs in drawers too, but I don't have knives in packs. Anyway, I don't think working harder is an answer to much. And I'm ambitious. I mean, I'm a hard worker. I'm at the gym every day or 6 days a week. I just had a session with my trainer this morning. I work, I do podcasts, I do these kinds of things. I work in my business. I've got 2 training programs today. I am not opposed to work. I just want it to be effective. I want it to be hyper effective. I don't want to do things that don't result in good things happening, either for my clients or for me. And I think a lot of times we've been fed this line of this BS of, you just got to work harder, Bill. You want to grow your business, you want to 2x your business. You can't 2x your business, Bill, working 40 hours a week. You're working 40 hours a week now and you're not 2xing. So what makes you think? Of course, I say, well, yeah, you can. You have to do different things. You have to do very different things. You have to think differently about yourself, about your business, about your customers, about the procedures and cadence and processes that you go down and embrace. But you can do it. But I think that my take is that working harder or working more or grinding it out or making more calls. I just don't find that's true. The real problem is not effort, it's methodology. Most people are working hard on activities that don't move the needle. You are, I am, we all are. And some of these activities we've so bought into, and these are our favorites. These are like the cold call, the cold call pod or whatever it is called when you get a bunch of the blitz, the blitzkrieg, the blitz. It's like, now, does it work? Yeah, but it doesn't work very well. Here's the truth. If your current approach isn't working, more of it won't work either. If your approach to prospects on cold calls is not working to book appointments, then don't just make more cold calls. Figure out how in the hell do you make it work. All right, number 3, inputs are everything, outputs are scorecards. Inputs are everything, outputs are merely scorecards. Your revenue, your income, how many new clients you got last year, how many prospects you have in your funnel, business growth, whatever. All those are just outputs. Those are scorecards. And what we fail to realize is there's a whole lot of inputs for each output. If you want to grow your business, if you want to 2x your business, which again, I'll tell you about in our 2x workshop, there are 9 areas, 9 inputs. If you get these inputs right, you don't have to worry about the outputs. Outputs take care of themselves. But when you try to control the outputs or try to control the outputs with a few inputs, but not the whole gamut of inputs, if I'm I'm going to butcher this probably, but if I'm a world-class athlete, I'm trying to get to the next level, it's probably not one thing. It's probably not, you got to stretch more. It's probably stretching, mobility, balance, strength, fitness, nutrition, cardio. I mean, it's all those things. All those things figure into your success as an athlete. And I think it's the same thing in sales. If you want to grow your business, you want to master your profession, master your craft, of professional selling, and you want to grow your income, there are a handful of things. It's never one. But if you don't know what those things are, you'll pull the wrong triggers. And one trigger they think that we pull a lot is hard work, more hours, just put more work in. Just not true. It's just not true. All right. I'll be happy to take comments here. And I know some of you have already commented. All right. On my, all right. So that's number 3. Number 3 is inputs are everything, outputs are scorecard. Take number 4, unpopular, take number 4. Most sales training is counterproductive. Now, I know some of you have your favorite sales training methodology, package, whatever. I'm all for training. I think training generally, if you can get in a room once a week or once every couple of weeks with someone like me, although it doesn't have to be me, a moderator, a coach, whatever, and you can address issues that need addressing, I think that's a good thing. But traditional sales training, where we're teaching salespeople how to go out and be this person that they're not in order to get the business, and say these things in order to get the business, and handle these objections this way in order to get the business, I think it's counterproductive. I think you might actually do more harm in the sales process than good, especially when you're manipulating. And nobody listening to this ever would admit that they manipulate, but a lot of sales training, the traditional training, I'm not talking about today, but I'm talking about in the past, and I still see the same guys out there talking about the same manipulative strategies. They've been out there for years and they're still there. And they do fine. And it might be something you like. You might like manipulation. I don't. I think it actually hurts you long-term in the soul, not necessarily in the market or in the income on your balance sheet. But I think if you manipulate, like here's an example. When I was getting into sales, I had a coach, and this coach's strategies for cold calls was as was as follows. He said, you call up the person and you say to the person you're cold calling. Now remember, you're calling them. This is back in the phone days. You're calling them. This is the phone from the phone days. And he says the first thing you say is, yeah, returning your call. And the person says, well, who is this? You say, oh, it's Bill Caskey. I just saw it. I have a note on my desk here. It said, call Phil Smith. Oh, I don't know. I don't know how we got that. I don't know your name. Who gave you this note? You know what? It was, I don't know. That's a good question. It was, well, tell me what you do. What do you guys do over there? And then they would tell the person, and then they would say, what do you do? And I said, well, I help people like you to, oh, well, maybe we should talk. And the whole idea was, it was built on a lie. So if that relationship went anywhere, it was built on a lie. Some of you are okay with that. You'll say, well, but that's what it takes. You know, the customer will lie to you, so you kind of have to play the game. And I feel like, no, you don't. And after years of doing that, it sucks your soul out, because you're everything about it is a lie. Now, I know that it's not a lie that's probably going to get you to hell, but I don't know. Seems like most of them will at least head you that direction. I don't like it. I think you built a relationship on a lie. Now, you can say to that prospect who you're calling, look, I've got your name here. I don't know if you have anything required that would cause me to think there's anything here. I don't know if I can bring you any value. That's fine, because you don't. That's not a lie. But the idea of, yeah, I just got your call, I'm just returning your call, that's a lie. Don't start your relationships on lies. So the point there is that most sales training, I think, is counterproductive. I think it actually takes you in the wrong direction. And you can disagree with that as you will. So true. People let them be themselves. That's a superpower by as well the pack. Yeah, let people be themselves. Sorry. Yeah. Good. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate it. Tony and Jamie online here. It's good. Okay. Let's see. Number 5. This is the one that nobody likes, and it will be so unpopular that you'll turn it off. But we're almost done. So if you turn it off now, I mean, you really haven't missed much. Take 5. If you're still cold calling, you've lost the modern game. If all of your prospecting is wrapped around cold outreach to get an appointment, to create a presentation or create a sales process, create a presentation, make a sale, I think you've lost the game, because it's not scalable. Unless you have hired a band of virtual assistants who are making those cold calls for you, and all you're doing is picking up the leads that come in, then that is scalable. But most of you don't have that. Most of you don't have a $20,000 a month budget to hire virtual assistants. So you're doing it on your own. And again, I'm not opposed to cold calling. I'm not. You won't find me telling my clients not to cold call. But if everything is wrapped up in that, it's not sustainable. Everybody talks about sustainability. I don't even know what that means anymore, because everybody's got a different definition of it. But certain things are not sustainable, and you making 100 cold calls a day is not, because at some point you're going to get busy with things and you're not going to be able to make those calls. And then who makes them? Nobody. So I want you to think about, well, that might be one Parthenon. If you look at a Parthenon, a Greek Parthenon has several different pillars. I think lead generation is the same way. You've got 5 to 10 pillars of leads that come from a place. Like this is one of my pillars, my LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook Live every Friday. Once a month, I'll get a call from a potential customer who says, hey, I've been watching. I like what you say. We need help in our company, and we'll work out something. Or you'll say, look, I need help personally. I want to get to this next level. I've been unsuccessful at getting there. I need your help, in which case I will share with you our offers. But this is one of the channels. Another channel is my podcast. Another channel is the Advanced Selling Podcast. I think we have to think of lead gen in terms of channels and streams of leads that we create based on an activity. I'm not saying you just go to lay in the bed all day and eat chocolates and the leads will come in. No, you got to work on them. But cold outreach is only one of those pillars. It's only one pillar. So if you only have one pillar of leads in your business, and it's labor that you are cold calling, it's a terrible business model. It's a terrible business model. I'm not saying don't cold call. I'm saying don't make that your only thing. All right. So those are the 5. Usually I have a bonus, but I don't really have a bonus today. So let's review. Number 1, success is not about persuasion. It's about position. It's about problem identification. Number 2, working harder never fixes it. It never fixes inefficiency or ineffectiveness. 3, inputs matter more than outputs. I suggest you look at the outputs you want and solution map it back, reverse engineer it, and say, okay, what are the inputs for that? And never forget about mind. How you think is one of the inputs. 4, systems beat training every time. A good system beats good sales training. Get your systems right. And I'm not saying don't buy sales training. I mean, but I feel like if you really want to grow your business, leverage your assets. Find out what your assets are. Hire somebody to help you leverage them. That's not a sales trainer usually. It might be in my case, but it's usually not a sales trainer because they don't know what the hell you're talking about. And number 5, attraction beats interruption in the modern market. When you cold call, you interrupt. When you create content that is compelling and well done, you attract people to you. I hope you have a great weekend. If you would like to talk to me, you can go to Schedule a Call with Caskey. And let me see if I can pull this up here. Schedule a Call with Caskey. How does this work now, you might ask? Well, it works if you have a team, or if you're in frontline sales and are looking for ways to grow. Jump on a call with me. I do not bite. I am not scary at all. I will just tell you exactly what we have, how it works, how it doesn't work. You can decide whether you want to invest in yourself or not. You're not investing in me. I always tell people that you're investing in yourself. And if you haven't invested in yourself for the last year, what are you waiting for? Forget about me. Don't Don't invest with me if you don't want to. That's cool. There's a lot of places to do it. But have you spent any money on yourself lately? Have you invested in your skills, in your attitudes, in your tools, your toolkit? Have you invested in video training? Have you invested in how to write better? Why not? You're earning good money and everybody says they want to get to the next level, but why don't you invest? You're going to have to invest to get there. Again, could be with me, could be with somebody else. That's your call. But schedule a call with Caskey will help you at least start that process. I hope you have an awesome weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next week to celebrate the Pacer NBA championship. See you. Bye.